We were one of the first cities in the United States. I think we were the first, though, candidly, good people can disagree, to initiate green building requirements for all municipal buildings. We did this a decade plus ago. So we're going to, for example, your city, your taxpayer, your money is going to be used not to build an old energy-consuming structure. If you want a new library, you want a new park with a recreation facility, if you want a new public health clinic, your taxpayer dollars will be used. We meet green building certification. We use LEED as our certification. LEED Silver now for all municipal buildings. Did that a decade ago. From our perspective, big deal. At the time, it was a big deal. People said, my gosh, that must bankrupt your city, they said. We can't do that in our city. We're growing our economy. We can't do that at the risk of growing our economic output. Of course, now that's the norm. And as soon as things are the norm in San Francisco, we realize that we're slowly falling behind. We always have to be on the leading and cutting edge. So we established a framework a year and a half ago, and now we have the most aggressive green building standards for everybody else in the United States of America. If you do any new construction in San Francisco in excess of 25,000 feet, you have to meet LEED Silver certification. That goes up to LEED Gold in a year or so, and we're hoping ultimately to get to LEED Platinum, though that is yet to be advertised. But again, I remember the old line from Michelangelo, the biggest risk is not that you aim too high and miss it, it's that you aim too low and reach it. And so while we have some ambitious goals, I still think that bar is too low, and so we're going to look to push that even further. It not only includes new construction of commercial and residential buildings, but also remodels. So if you do any significant remodel in your home or business, you also now have that LEED Silver baseline certification requirement. The next phase for us is going to be an energy efficiency requirement for everybody else, meaning all those legacy buildings, all the buildings that have already been built using the old ways that haven't been retrofitted like PG&E and the LEED Gold certification, which incidentally is remarkable that you were able to meet gold certification on a building built around the turn of the century, suggestive that this can be done. But we're now with what we call a Green Building Task Force 2.0, when in doubt, throw 2.0 anything. And they are going to come in with these new standards very shortly, which we think will also raise the bar for cities, not only across this country, but we hope to be a model for cities around the world. This is a big deal. We focus so much on tailpipe emissions and cars. We focus so much on exhaust issues as it relates to the production of energy and coal. We do not focus enough on how we design, construct, demolish our buildings and operate our buildings. Interestingly, in closing, for those that are still a bit cynical about this green building movement, let's just put some dollars and cents, common sense as well as real sense. The reality in this economy is interesting. While our vacancy rates have increased because of the economic downturn, the vacancy rates in LEED certified buildings have not. What's interesting is rents have gone down across our city because of the macroeconomic concerns. Rents have not dropped, specifically have not dropped in any significant way in those LEED certified buildings. The cost to operate is clearly cheaper because you're more efficient. We know that. But there are other things that people don't know, and that is you actually have lower insurance costs. State Farm and others are providing less burdensome packages for LEED buildings because they recognize LEED buildings are better designed and better constructed. Less risk for their shareholders. So you're actually getting lower premiums to insure your buildings. We are seeing from the business perspective, those that are purchasing or rather leasing these buildings, that they have higher output in terms of workforce, lower sick days. By the way, I haven't seen a study that does not verify this in LEED buildings. So you've got a more productive workforce that shows up more often. You've got, as a building owner, a building where you're paying less in terms of your contribution or your tenant's contribution to the ongoing operations, less in the overall insurance market, and you get a higher likelihood that you're going to keep that building rented in this economic downturn. Why is it that people are still sitting there wondering if this is a good idea? It's beyond me. The fact that we had to mandate it, to me, is suggestive that not everyone agrees, but the inevitability is the private sector now gets this. They did not fight us, incidentally, for all these new mandates. They understood that this was about to happen and take shape. And they actually wanted to lead, in this case, L-E-E-D, not just L-E-A-D, lead the way, because these are companies that do business around the world. If you're Gensler, you're doing business in Shanghai. If you're Webcor, you want to do more business in Shanghai. You're doing business all over the United States, and you want to have LEED certified professionals. And right now, there's no city per capita in the United States of America with more LEED certified professionals than San Francisco. So we think it's natural for people to come from China and talk about this issue and to come to the city and county of San Francisco. We think that helps in so many ways and builds partnerships. And that was one of the reasons, in my final words, why we opened up an office in China and why we decided to open. And San Francisco has never had a foreign office. We opened up what we call a China desk in Shanghai because we wanted to establish this consciousness in China more formally. And we've been very aggressive. We got Dr. Xi to come to San Francisco, and we did everything we could to try to encourage him to come in. We have green tax credits, so if you're a business that's in this green sector, you don't have to pay a payroll tax. We had other incentives. And he opened up a Suntech here, the North American headquarters in San Francisco. It's grown, by the way, tenfold since he opened in this economic environment, and that was just a year ago. It's grown tenfold here in San Francisco. He's now on our advisory committee for this partnership with our China desk, and we just got Trina Solar to do the same here in San Francisco. China Daily is going to be opening up here in San Francisco. All again partner and building these partnerships, particularly in the green tech sector. You mentioned Vincent Lowe, good friend of mine, good friend of San Francisco. Vincent has been very formidably involved as well on the Shanghai side, doing the opposite, trying to recruit businesses over to Shanghai and to China. And that's exactly what these partnerships should be all about. I look forward to engaging all of you further. I was just out there in Shanghai not too many months ago, and we had a similar conference. This is an exciting time. San Francisco, California is a gateway state and city. And it's natural that the dialogue between our respective countries really allows us to be convened in this state and certainly in this region. And we look forward to developing formidable partnerships and addressing the incredible challenge that we all obviously recognize needs to be addressed. And I certainly hope today you glean some sense of some of the work we've done, and hope that you can learn more and take advantage of some of our staff that are here this afternoon that will be spending the entire day with you, and they are at your disposal. So thank you all very, very much for giving me the opportunity, and I hope you have a great day.